First details of the Mercedes W14 revealed. Starting with the vehicle from the previous year is necessary in order to determine whether or not the W14, the Mercedes car for the 2023 season, will be a straight progression of its predecessor or something else entirely. After recent remarks made by Toto Wolff regarding its consistency in terms of apparent shape, that contrast, at least partially, this method makes even more sense. Toto Wolff's statements may be found here. There have been rumors, which have been corroborated by insiders within the team, that the W14 will be a conceptual revolution from a variety of different points of view. The Mercedes W13 spent the most of its precious season competing as a single-seater, making it challenging to realize the car's full capabilities. In the course of events, since the preseason testing in Bahrain, when the zero-side pod version made its appearance, it was abundantly evident that the Brackley team's goal would be lowered. This became apparent as soon as the version was introduced. In point of fact, the most significant shortcoming of that idea was its propensity to porpoising, also known as aerodynamic jolts. This flaw made it possible for the group to capitalize on the potential that the technicians had seen in the simulations. In point of fact, in order to lessen it, it was essential to adopt ride heights that were far higher than the level that would have been optimum. This resulted in a significant loss of downforce from the floor. Its erratic behavior remained for a considerable amount of time on all different kinds of songs, while the engineers led by Mike Elliott sought, seemingly with an intransient blindness, for the performance that was lacking. In point of fact, the decision to continue development was not made out of stubbornness, but rather out of a necessity to completely comprehend the challenges posed by the project. In point of fact, with 2023 in mind, it would not have made any sense to have instantly given up on the development of the W13 without first having a thorough understanding of the factors that contributed to its sluggishness and unease. They started looking for answers in Hungary, in Brackley, and if they had been successful, they could have started thinking about 2023 at that point. On the other hand, development continued until Austin, when it had not yet been decided which route to take with the W14, whether to make a clean break with the W13, following concepts comparable to Red Bull, or maintaining its principles in terms of external lines. Ultimately, the decision was made to make a clean break with the W13, following concepts similar to Red Bull. There is a good chance that the 2023 single-seater will have a strong family vibe in common with the one that came before it. On the other hand, the rear might have less of a taper in order to achieve a larger degree of stiffness at the bottom and a different method of flow control in the back. Recent statements made by Toto Wolff indicate that the W14 will keep a significant amount of the DNA from its predecessor beneath the bodywork in terms of packaging and under the floor, which will be modified in many parts, notably in the proportions of the diffuser throat and the venturi channels, will be where the majority of the alterations will take place. In light of these considerations, the side pods might be able to keep its structure comparable to that of the W13 by including frontal vertical inlets. There are two different hypotheses that might be correct in order to explain why the backside seems to have less of a taper. One that is of an aerodynamic nature, with a piece that is flat at the level of the rear suspension, generating a T shape at the back, and the objective of this design is to increase the efficiency of the diffuser by making use of the beam wing. The second cause is a structural one. In point of fact, the huge open floor space at the bottom of the W13 was especially flexible at the ends. Thus, its thickness had been raised at the project level, which resulted in an increase in weight. This year, the minimum weight has been lowered to 796 kilograms, providing teams with a greater incentive to minimize the weight of their race vehicles. The gearbox will be a significant improvement over the ones that came before it, and will have a unique configuration of the essential components that will make up the rear suspension. At the level of the power unit, the specialists working under the direction of Howell Thomas are certain that the performance is comparable to that of Honda and Ferrari. They have already started the engine. In conjunction with Petronas, a significant amount of work has been put in to improve the economy of consumption without simultaneously optimizing combustion. This has been made possible by a new fuel composition. If the sides are kept to a minimum, similar to how they are on the W13, and then they will keep their vertical apertures and visible deformable features. On the other hand, on the right is the double bottom variant, which might be utilized in accordance with the principles that the RB18 adheres to. Take note of the various sizes of the mirrors and the supports they have. First details of the Mercedes W14 revealed.